My name is Nick Gebelt. I'm a bankruptcy attorney here in Whittier, California. And this video and the next few videos, I will cover Chapter 13 Bankruptcy. Chapter 13 Bankruptcy sort of builds on Chapter 7 Bankruptcy. You may be aware of the fact that the Bankruptcy Code is divided up into chapters. Chapter 7 is the most commonly used chapter, and the big picture goal is just to erase debts in one fell swoop. The whole process typically takes between 5 and 6 months from the day we file your papers until the day you get your discharge. And then once you get your discharge, those debts that are of the dischargeable variety are just wiped out without you paying anything at all. Chapter 13 is a different concept. The big picture goal in a Chapter 13 is to pay your creditors all or maybe just a portion of what you owe them over a number of months. If you are over the median income for your state, then it's 60 months, and the plan cannot last more than 60 months. If you're under the median, you can have a 36-month plan. And the idea then is we propose a plan. If the judge confirms the plan, then each month for the life of the plan, you send in a payment to a Chapter 13 trustee assigned to the case, who takes the payment, distributes it to your creditors according to the terms of the judge-confirmed plan. In the meantime, you don't deal with the creditors at all. And then at the conclusion of the plan, any debts that you listed that you didn't pay in full just get wiped out. Now, the plan has to satisfy 3 main requirements. There are others, but these 3 main ones are sort of make-or-break requirements. And to a certain extent, they track the 3 main limitations in a Chapter 7. So, the question that may be on your mind is, how much do I have to repay in this Chapter 13 plan? And that is dependent upon these 3 factors. The first factor goes back to Chapter 7. And if you've looked at some of my Chapter 7 videos, you know that there is a limit on what you get to keep. You get to keep some stuff in a Chapter 7, but there's at least the potential to lose possessions in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. In a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you get to keep all of your possessions. No trustee is going to take your stuff. But we still go through the exercise of listing all of your possessions and dividing them into exempt and non-exempt categories using the appropriate exemption table. California has 2. And then anything that's exempt doesn't go into the calculation. Anything that's non-exempt, we look at the dollar value of the non-exempt assets. And then the plan over its lifetime, which as I said most of the time is a 60-month plan, has to pay back the general unsecured creditors at least the dollar value of the non-exempt assets or the total debt, whichever is less. You never have to pay back more than 100%. So, for example, let's say you had $10,000 in non-exempt assets and $50,000 in general unsecured debt. Then the minimum that you could get away with paying back those creditors over the 5 years would be the $10,000. So that's the application of this first requirement. The second requirement is the plan has to be fair. Now, fair is usually a very vague term. It's the place where you get cotton candy and not much else. But in this particular situation, we can make it very precise. There are 2 possibilities. Either you have a 100% plan, meaning that over the life of the plan, you're going to pay back your general unsecured creditors 100% of what you owe them, with no interest accumulation, by the way. Or, if you're going to propose a plan that is less than 100%, then each month for the life of the plan, you have to devote your disposable monthly income to the plan. Now, in the Chapter 7 videos, I discussed in some detail what disposable monthly income is. So for this purpose, I'll give a heuristic definition. The gist of it is this. We take your gross income, minus what you pay in taxes and Social Security, and minus your reasonable living expenses. So your living is already taken care of. And then whatever's left over is that disposable income that you have to devote to plan payments each month. So that is the fairness test. The first one is sometimes referred to as the Chapter 7 liquidation test for Chapter 13. Now the third test, or the third requirement, is feasibility. Feasibility is a little harder to define, so I'm going to give you an unsatisfactory definition and then give you a couple of examples to see what can go wrong. So for a plan to be feasible, it has to satisfy that Chapter 7 liquidation test. It has to satisfy the fairness test, and in addition, it has to pay back certain special kinds of creditors the way they're entitled to be repaid. Not a very satisfying definition. So let's do a couple of examples to see what can go wrong. Let's say, for argument's sake, you had $35,000 worth of tax debt. Now, it's true some tax debt is dischargeable in bankruptcy, but for purposes of this particular example, let's assume these taxes are not dischargeable in bankruptcy. Then, in the Chapter 13 plan, you'd have to pay them back 100% over the 60-month plan. Well, let's say we do the calculations and we determine that you have $500 a month in disposable monthly income to make your plan payments. Well, is that going to work? 500 times 60 months, that's 30,000. Ooh, no, it isn't going to work. Why is that? Because we put forward the idea that you had $35,000 worth of non-dischargeable tax debt. So there's an example of an infeasible plan. Another example, let's say you are behind in your mortgage payments. Now in a Chapter 7, there is no plan to catch up. You either catch up right away or you lose the house. But in a Chapter 13, you can put those mortgage arrearages into the Chapter 13 plan and spread the paying off of them over that 60-month plan. But the catch is they have to be paid back 100%. So, same drill, let's say you were $35,000 behind on the mortgage payments and you had $500 a month to pay to cure your arrearage. Would that work? No, because 500 times 60 is $30,000 and you have that $35,000 mortgage arrearage. So that's looking at it sort of from the 30,000 foot level. This is our first in the Chapter 13 videos. And in subsequent videos, we'll kind of dig down a little deeper and talk about things that may be on your mind. In the meantime, I wish you a great day, and if you do have questions about Chapter 13 bankruptcy, please give me a call at 562-777-9159. This is Nick Gebelt signing off.